Morning. Thanks for your patience. Welcome to the June 27th, 2023 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you're with us. And for those watching online, we're glad you're with us as well. Encourage everybody to silence their cell phones while they're in the meeting this morning. We will begin as we always do with an invocation. And Dave Salisbury from Henderson Church of Christ is with us, good friend, and he will lead us in prayer. Please stand.
Would you bow with me? Almighty God, we are grateful for the blessings that you give us. Father, we're thankful to be here today. Thank you for all these folks who are assembled here, for the folks that you have placed in positions of power and authority. And we pray, Father, that as they seek to exercise that authority, you would give them wisdom and guidance. We pray that you would help us all to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you each and every day. Father, we pray that you will bless our county and all the things that we stand in need of. We pray that decisions that are made here today would be in line with your will and your way. Father, we pray you'd bless us with some rain right now, that our crops could grow. We pray that you will bless us as we seek to do what is right and good. In Jesus' name we ask this prayer today. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Here.
Magistrate Southard.
Here.
Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you have before you the minutes of the June 13th Henderson County Fiscal Court meeting, as well as a special called meeting on June 20th. After periods of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve both of those sets of minutes.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, clarifications, additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have a busy agenda today, and we'll start it off with Renisa Abner, who will tell us about the reapportionment committee's work. And they are willing to give us a proposal because their work is finished, correct?
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit background about what reapportionment actually is, since I think, well, no, Butch, you went through it before 10 years ago, but probably no one else has on the court. What it is basically after the census every 10 years, KRS 67045 requires that fiscal court appoints a committee of citizens to look at the magisterial lines and the population within those lines to make sure they're as equal as possible. So that's what the board did. We met a couple of times, and the board members were Janet Horton, Rhonda Smith, and Alan Taylor, and we went through with Chris Raymer and also Kyle. He assisted us as well with the legals, and Carrie from my office as well. We looked at all of the population and adjusted it so that we would fall within an acceptable deviation between the largest and the smallest magisterial district. So that is an overview of what reapportionment is and what we did. For the details, Alan is going to come up and talk to you about the details of the report, which you all have in front of you. We will also pull up on your screens the map to kind of make it, maybe blow it up a little bit larger, because your maps that you have are pretty small, I think, and maybe hard to read. But with that, if anybody has any questions of me, you can go ahead, and then, or if not, I will turn it over to Alan, and he will go over the details.
Good morning, gentlemen, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve on this reapportionment committee that you've granted me. Under extreme duress, they drafted me as a spokesman for this committee, and I'm going to give you a few more details than what she's given you. You should have all of the information I'm going to share in this packet here, in addition to the map. Henderson County, population-wise, basically hasn't grown, but there's been a shift as far as magisterial districts since the census 10 years ago. So basically, the current deviation, and that deviation would be the difference between the biggest one and the littlest one, population-wise, is 9.2%. And that represents total population in the county of 44,793. KRS 67.045 states that these boundaries should be moved to accommodate the least amount of disparity between the biggest and the littlest that could be achieved. And the Attorney General's office said that anything below a 5% would be acceptable. So our goal, basically as a committee, when we started looking at this, was to try to achieve 4%. If you look at the bottom, with these recommendations we're submitting to you, we would come up with a 2.79% deviation, which is about as equitable as I think possible, physically possible. And basically, there were only two minor boundary moves that we recommend, and the first one was to move a portion of the North Zion precinct. There's 399 residents there, from District 2 to Spotsville precinct in District 1. This, as you can see on the map, there was kind of a little appendage sticking out from the rest of the geographical coverage in that District 2. This was a natural because it's side by side. We needed more in District 1, less in District 2. So we looked at this. This worked perfect as far as the numbers were concerned. So that was the first move that we're recommending. The second one was to move a portion of West Fair. There's 175 residents in this district, from District 3 to District 4, which would create equity there. This was a real clean way to lower the deviations because both of these were located within the city limits. And I also say that these recommendations that we're submitting made no changes whatsoever in school board member setups. So no changes magistrates, no changes school board if you accept these recommendations as submitted. And then for reasons of transparency, we will tell you we did clean up a few of the census box lines that affected 0 voters. These things were out in agricultural fields, running along ditches, and we moved it to roadways. So, questions?
Alan, I got one. When we're looking at 3 and 4, the gray area that's between, right there in the middle, is that 4 or 3, or is that the change?
That's the change.
That's the change.
That moves it from
4 to 3.
correct.
Okay. Just clarification.
And there was only, I think, 175 total.
No, it's 3 to 4.
Is it
It's-
about?
oh,
You're right,
okay,
correct.
it's 3 to
Yes,
4.
Yes, yes. It's right here in front of me if I'd read it.
So that gray area is Butch's now.
Yes.
Yes. The way from U10 to
Any other questions? We don't vote on this today. Putting this into effect involves passing an ordinance. So we will take this and prepare the necessary ordinance resolutions to vote on hopefully next couple meetings. But in the meantime, and I know this is a lot of information. When I was looking at it yesterday, the fiscal descriptions made me cross my eyes, but the maps were very helpful.
Read the legal descriptions if you really want your
Yeah.
eyes crossed.
So, but in the end, I think everybody understands there's very minor changes. No magistrates were living in any of the areas that were changed, so you all have the same districts you did.
Well, one more question. Tim and I were talking, and we were looking at the smaller layouts
Okay.
yesterday. And is Main Street still in 4, or is it 3?
That's
Is-
the matter.
Yeah, the center line of Main Street.
Okay,
is
so
the-
he would have half, and I'd have
One
half.
side of the street, and the
Yeah.
other.
The west
So what-
side, he would have, the east side you would have.
That would be the Riverside
Yes,
That would-
yes.
and Water Street?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we had that much right, Tim.
Well, I don't go to Water Street, though. It stops at Horseshoe Drive's where my district stops.
But basically, that means that Main Street is the boundary, the
Okay.
dividing line between the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
We moved it from a ditch or whatever that census box border was to the center of Main Street.
Got it.
And it may be helpful at some point to get with
Nick?
Renisa or Chris to see, to zoom this out a little bit so where you can see where the northern border is
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could get a big map.
Yeah.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
We used to get them.
Chris, there we go. Yes,
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
It's very difficult to get it in the size of a.
yeah.
It's hard to see in a big map, so it's
And we had a big map when we were doing it, I mean, it was still hard to see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
thank y'all.
Thanks to you and all the
Yeah, I never want to
commissioners
them.
who did this. Renisa, anything else?
I just wanted to add, the precincts that are affected, so North, Zion, Spotsville, West Fair, and East Fair, those will change, and that's, but that's not a function of fiscal court, that's a function of the election board. So, when, and if you do the ordinance for our recommendations, we will follow up with the election board and make those changes as well to reflect the current magisterial lines. Okay?
So the way KRS 67.045 reads is within 60 days of receipt of this report, the fiscal court shall consider the report of the commissioners and in accordance with a couple other laws, adopt or amend the report in establishing the districts. So the fiscal court has 60 days to act on it one way or another.
Okay. I don't think it'll take 60 days. I think we'll be able to jump on it pretty quickly, but we do need to vote to accept the report, and then we will move to ratify it soon.
I'll make the motion to accept the report. Second.
Motion and a second. Thanks again to all who worked on it. And that is a state requirement for those watching. So you have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Got a couple appointments. The first one requires fiscal court approval. They are both to the Library Board of Trustees. Arlene Alexander is up for reappointment, and she's done a great job, and the library submits 2 names for each of these spots, working with both the people who are interested and other factors. I'm going to recommend that Arlene Alexander be reappointed to the Library Board and Luana Quick be appointed to the Library Board. Luana has been on their foundation board for many, many years, is very passionate about the library, and I think they'll both be excellent servants of that board. So I would offer Luana Quick and Arlene Alexander as appointments to the Library Board of Trustees. Can I get a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have appointments to the Tourist Commission, which do not require a vote. They are my appointments, but I thought I'd run them by you. The appointment that I have solely to the Tourist Commission is Katie Gross Moussa, who's up for reappointment, and Katie and her husband Hubert own Farmer and Frenchman, and she's been a very valuable member of the Tourist Commission board for obvious reasons. So I'm going to reappoint her. And then we have 2 joint appointments with the mayor, and they are Kelsey Hargis and Dee Patel. Kelsey, I think, is well known to everybody. Dee Patel is a hotel owner in the community, a younger guy who's really aggressive and engaged. And I like Dee a lot, and Kelsey's obviously a rock star. So we, both the mayor and I, are going to reappoint those 2 folks to the Tourist Commission. This next one does need fiscal court approval. Doug Bell, a longtime chairman of the West Kentucky Regional Industrial Development Authority Board, which is otherwise known as the 4-Star Industrial Park Board, has moved to Kansas City for a job. We wish him the best. That seat is open, and that is our appointment in Henderson County. Representatives from all 4 counties and 4-Star appoint members to that board. And I am recommending that Jeffrey Duncan be appointed to fill the remainder of Doug's term, which will expire at the end of 2024. Jeff is a local banker, younger guy, family man here, and is really interested in getting more engaged in the community. And he left us for a while, left Henderson County, came back, and has really wanted to dive in, and I think he's very talented and brings a good skill set to that board. So I entertain a motion to approve Jeffrey Duncan to the West Kentucky Regional Industrial Development Authority Board.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. Next, we have a resolution, annual resolution for Crime Stoppers. It's done every 2 years, biannual resolution, and it allows $1 in court costs collected to go to the Crime Stoppers organization for tips and other organizational costs. I think they also offer rewards for tips that help lead to the arrest, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Gold. And it's a little incentive to help citizens become more aware and help police and prosecution. So if there aren't any other questions about that, we can read a resolution. Again, this has been an ongoing relationship for many years. So, Mr. Clerk?
Resolution authorizing the county to enter into an agreement with local Crime Stoppers organization. Whereas KRS 431.597 allows for the county to enter into an agreement of affiliation with local Crime Stoppers organization, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court feels that it is in the best interest of the county to enter into such agreement in order to allow a $1 fee to be collected in court costs from any person convicted of a misdemeanor or violation other than a violation of KRS Chapters 186, 187, 188, 189, or 189A, and sentenced to pay a fine for the misdemeanor or violation. Said fee would be dispersed to the local Crime Stoppers organization. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. That the Henderson County Fiscal Court shall enter into an agreement with the local Crime Stoppers organization in order to allow a $1 fee to be collected in court costs from any person convicted of a misdemeanor or violation other than violation of KRS Chapter 186, 187, 188, 189, or 189A, and sentenced to pay a fine for a misdemeanor or violation.
I move to approve, Judge.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a resolution changing the administrative code. This past spring, the legislature increased the threshold for which we would have to put items out for bid from $30,000 to $40,000. I think this is recognition of inflation, giving counties enough flexibility to not have to put everything out to bid that has risen in price, especially things like automobiles and heavy equipment. So we'd like to enshrine that in our administrative code and follow suit with this resolution to increase from $30,000 to $40,000 that threshold locally. So any questions about that? I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
A resolution amending the administrative code of Henderson County. Whereas House Bill 522 was introduced and passed during the 2023 regular session of the Kentucky General Assembly and subsequently was signed into law by the governor. Whereas House Bill 522 amends KRS 424.260 to increase the amount local officials, including counties, can purchase without taking out newspaper advertisements for bids from $30,000 to $40,000. Whereas pursuant to KRS 67.710, the Henderson County Judge Executive has reviewed and recommends to amend the Administrative Code of Henderson County, hereafter Administrative Code, to reflect the statutory amendment to KRS 424.260. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. The Administrative Code adopted June 28, 2022 is hereby amended in part by deleting 30,000 and replacing the deleted text with 40,000 in section 4.6D and 4.6E. The remaining provisions of the Administrative Code shall be unaffected by this resolution. The Fiscal Court shall cause a copy of this resolution to be attached to the Administrative Code.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Without any further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a resolution for our annual rescue squad affiliation. Our EMA director, Kenny Garrett, is with us. Anything you'd like to add? This is our initial agreement, just making sure that they are part of the family as required by law. Any questions of Kenny at all?
I don't know if Kurt's got it on there or not, but this is a 6-month thing to get us to the calendar year renewal. So we'll do it for 12 months in January to get us in line with what Frankfurt is saying. We have to run them on a calendar year.
Just moving from the fiscal year to the calendar year.
Yes, sir.
We will read the resolution unless there are any questions.
Nope. Complaints.
Resolution authorizing county judge executive to execute a Henderson City County Rescue Squad affiliation agreement. Whereas KRS 39F establishes the framework for the establishment and operation of a county-wide rescue squad, and whereas Henderson City County Rescue Squad Incorporated has served in such capacity in accordance with his mission statement and applicable laws and without fee for service, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court must authorize and affiliate with the Henderson City County Rescue Squad Incorporated on an annual basis for it to continue operation. And whereas it is being recognized that all assets, property, funds, or interests acquired, appropriated, donated, or raised for the benefit and or operation of the Henderson City County Rescue Squad Incorporated shall be deemed the property of Henderson County, City of Henderson, or when acquired through state funds, the property of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and the Henderson City County Rescue Squad Incorporated will be responsible for the management and accounting of all said assets. Whereas the bylaws of the Henderson City County Rescue Squad Incorporated shall conform to the applicable state and federal laws and regulations and may not limit the authority of the county judge executive, mayor, and or the local emergency management director in the provision and management of the rescue squad services to the city and county. And whereas it is therefore the desire of the Henderson Fiscal Court to affiliate with and officially designate Henderson City County Rescue Squad Incorporated as the sole officially recognized rescue squad in Henderson County and the city of Henderson. Now therefore be resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. The Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes County Judge Executive Brad Schneider to execute the annual statement of affiliation between the County of Henderson, the City of Henderson, and the Henderson City County Rescue Squad in order to thereby affiliate the Henderson Fiscal Court with and authorize the continued operation of said entity as a sole recognized rescue squad in Henderson County pursuant to KRS 39F until December 31st, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I guess I'm wondering how the budgeting would work by doing that. Because we're doing it for 6 months. We've done the budget for a year.
I don't think it'll impact budget
no.
monies from the county going towards the rescue squad. Our budget won't change. I don't see a reason why it would, Kenny.
Well, I guess I'd be looking at, I understand we've done it for a year. The budget that was proposed is good through June 31st of
Right.
24.
Right.
Now he's going to a calendar year on January 1. How, he's got enough money to get him to June, didn't we?
Yeah.
The rescue squad funds don't come
Yeah.
out of my budget.
Okay, all right, I'm clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I was getting messed
I
up.
really wish the state would do one or the other. I mean, that's what the
Yeah,
sheriff's
he-
departments in January were trying. I mean, it's confusing.
Agreed. Agreed. Any other thoughts on this? Relationship with the rescue squad. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, you may recall we've discussed this before, and I'll ask Missy Vanderpool from Henderson Economic Development to come to the podium if you don't mind. I want to say 4 years ago now, the legislature, I think, did a good job in shifting tax monies that TVA was paying to the state in lieu of taxes, I should say, and moving those monies to counties with TVA facilities in them to use for economic development. And we have this pot of money. It's increased every year, and we have used it effectively over the years, very effectively, I think. In many respects, I think one of the results of Pratt Industries locating here was work that was done with TVA funds on the property out there. As you know, we dedicated $1 million towards road building at the Pratt site. I think like a lot of things, inflation affected the price tag, and they respectfully came to us and asked for $77,000 and change more to complete that project. And instead of going back into the general fund to find that money, we had TVA funds sitting there. It can be used for this exact purpose, and I thought it was a really good use of those funds. And they have our Industrial Development Authority, through which the funds would flow, has sent us a request to utilize those funds to complete that project. And if I'm characterizing that completely, Ms. Vanderpool, anything to add to that?
No, that's a great summary of that. And so the IDA has approved that request. This is the next step for that.
Yeah. So we have a resolution to read in that. Any questions about that before we read a resolution?
I was just going to ask, this access road will be actually in the city or the county? And whose responsibility will it be?
I think it will be a private road
Yes, it will be a private road.
I see.
maintained by Pratt.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good point. Great question. Any questions about this? And just so you know, this does not significantly draw down the RDAP account. I think we have more than $100,000 left for odds and ends, and we'll be getting some more money in the next.
Each year, we're
fiscal year.
allocated a certain amount. We have to make the request. We don't hold those funds. We make the request. If we don't use it all in a year, it just accumulates from year to year.
So we don't lose it.
We do not lose it.
Right.
And unless the legislator makes changes in the
Yeah.
future. But
You never
as
know.
of now, we do not lose it.
Without any other questions, I'll have the clerk read the resolution. Go ahead.
Fiscal years 2022 to 2024 RDAP authorizing designation of SPGE resolution. Adoption of a resolution of the Henderson County Fiscal Court designating the Henderson Regional Industrial Authority special purpose government entity to receive Tennessee Valley Authority TVA funds under the Regional Development Authority Assistance Program, RDAAP, and authorizing the filing of a Regional Development Agency Assistance Program proposal grant application for up to $77,482.14 in RDAP funds with the Department for Local Government, and authorizing designated Henderson Regional Industrial Authority special purpose government entity to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas Henderson County desires to promote and carry out economic development efforts and job creation activities on behalf of the residents of Henderson County by supporting the KY 425 Access Road Development Project, and whereas recognized that RDAP funds are available to the county pursuant to KRS Chapter 96, impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county, and would require, 1, the approval of satisfactory application to the transmittal of DLG for approval, 2, the designation of a SP special purpose government entity established under KRS 154.50-301 to KRS 154.50-346, and concurrence from the representative, state representative, and state senator. Now therefore be resolved this 27th day of June 2023 by the Henderson Fiscal Court that the following special purpose government entity is designated to receive Regional Development Agency Assistance Program funds. The name of the special purpose government entity is Henderson Regional Industrial Authority. Whitney Risley is the contact person. Their address is 20 North Main Street, Henderson, Kentucky, 42420-270-854-9455. That an RDAP project proposal application on behalf of the county for RDAP monies up to $77,482.14 for KY 425 Access Road Development Project shall be submitted to DLG. The county shall provide such additional information and furnish such documentation as may be required, and the designated SPGE shall act as the authorized correspondent for this project.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. You know that the Planning Commission reviewed a proposed amendment to our solar farm ordinance. They held a requisite public hearing and recommended these changes to us. You have it before you. I will entertain a motion after we read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Article XX M1 Light Industrial District to add solar energy systems as a conditional use in said zone and repealing and replacing Article XXX, Solar Energy Systems of the Henderson County Zoning Ordinance, found in the Henderson County Code of Ordinances in Appendix A thereof. Whereas Chapter 100 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes provides for adoption of zoning text and maps, as well as providing for amendments, and whereas the County of Henderson and the Henderson City County Planning Commission have recognized the need for zoning regulations that promote the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community and facilitate orderly and harmonious development and the visual character of the community by enacting and amending the Henderson County Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, zoning, which is incorporated into said code. And whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court previously generated proposed text pursuant to KRS 100.211 and other applicable law and forwarded said text to the Henderson City County Planning Commission for hearing. And whereas the Henderson City County Planning Commission conducted a public hearing thereon June 6, 2023, and the Commission recorded the amended language provided herein. Whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to amend the regulations regarding solar energy systems by adopting the recommendations of the Henderson City County Planning Commission. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the Henderson Fiscal Court of the County of Henderson and the Commonwealth of Kentucky as follows. 1. The Appendix A, zoning of the Code of Ordinances of Henderson County, Kentucky, Article XX M1, Light Industrial District, Section 20.03, is amended to include a new subsection to the list of conditional uses in said zone, which shall read as follows. L, Level 2 Solar Energy Systems. Number 2, Appendix A, zoning of the Code of Ordinances of Henderson County, Kentucky, Article XXX, Solar Energy Systems is hereby repealed in its entirety and replaced as reflected in the attached document marked Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein with deletions reflected in strike-through and additions underlined. Number 3, all or parts of ordinances in conflict herein are repealed to the extent of such conflict. 4, the provisions of this ordinance are severable, and if any provisions or part thereof shall be held invalid or unconstitutional or inapplicable to any person or circumstance, such invalidity, unconstitutionality, and inapplicability, man, put some big words in there, Steve, shall not affect or impair the remaining provisions of the ordinance. This ordinance shall become effective upon its passage and advertising accordance to law.
I want to point out a typo on the second to last page of this document. I believe it's section C, number 4. It refers to an 8-foot tall fence. It should be 7 feet tall. And melding the two, the amendments together, that slipped in as a typo, so it should say 7 feet tall. And we will make that change.
Judge, I'd make a motion with the change to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
So moved. Or second.
We have a motion and a second. Why don't we call the roll here, Mr. Clerk?
Magistrate Putman,
Aye.
Magistrate Tompkins,
Abstain.
Magistrate Southern,
Aye.
Magistrate Starks,
Aye.
Magistrate Berry.
And that passes. That is first reading. We will have second reading at the next fiscal court meeting. Next, we have several bits of business with the road department and engineer Nick Stallings. Join us. First is road department generator contract. And for the benefit of the court, this includes an emergency generator at Zion Baptist Church.
Yes,
We have that in place. Why?
because that's dedicated as a shelter. So, I've got in your packets, that's the agreement we have for the generator agreement for 22, 23, and 24. I mean 23, 24, 25 calendar years. It's for the maintenance of the large generator we have at our office, for our large portable generator we have, and the one at the Zion Baptist Church. So that's just that's yearly maintenance to make sure to run them when they need to be running, and they'll start when they need to start.
Because it's a contract, we need a motion to approve that.
The main change I would make would be at the beginning of paragraph 7 on the really tiny, small print on the second page is for under indemnity. We just need to pencil in to the extent allowed by law.
With that change, would you like to alter your motion to reflect that change?
I move to reflect the change that Steve.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for this agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And next, we have bid recommendation on Hatchet Mill Bridge demo and installation.
Also, I opened up bids last court for the installation, demolition of the old bridge, installation of the new bridge. I did a few changes to kind of help with the overall cost, and as you saw, they did come down quite a bit. The winning bid with M&G Contracting, I went through, looked at their bids. Nothing is substantially incomplete. Everything they wanted is there. Everything I wanted to have is there. So I recommend we approve them as the contractor to get Hatchet Mill rebuilt.
Any questions? It's good that we rebid that.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve that recommendation.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Nick.
Thanks.
We had, turns out we had 2 bidders on our broadband build-out RFP. We will read the bids. What'd you say? Yeah, complicated. With the court's approval, these are complicated bids and they may vary some. So if we'll acknowledge accepting both Spectrum and Connexon having submitted bids, and if you'll so allow me, I will take these back and research them over the next couple of weeks and bring back recommendations. If you'd like to have copies of it, I can make those available to you. Again, they're lengthy, so any problem with that? Okay. We will do that. Thank you. Next, animal control reports.
We had 39 stray dogs in May that were surrendered at the shelter. 10 were returned to their owners. And for this year so far, we've taken in 342 stray dogs, and 142 of those were returned to the owners. Per Kendra Strawn, we will be applying for the Kentucky State Agriculture Spay-Neuter Grant, and we are going to have this application to the judge's office next week for signature. And she says that we are asking for $3,000. And that animal control will be on call, emergency call Monday the 3rd and Tuesday the 4th. And the shelter will be closed to the public then, and we'll use this day for maintenance and deep cleaning. We do have a new executive board that will take office on July 1st. President Kendra Strawn, Vice President Stacy McCord Crooks, Treasurer Amber Herndegen, sorry if I didn't say that correctly, Secretary Simone Hecker, and then we have the following board members: Emma Todd, Sean Wilder, Stephanie Dossett, Adrian Graber, and Lisa Jones.
Can you describe again the grant you're applying for?
From what I've read about it, I really haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. It is with the state of Kentucky, and they we can request up to $1,500 and then have a matching side for another $1,500.
And you're going to apply. You're going to provide the match.
Yes,
And does that have to have my signature on it?
it does. Has to
Okay.
be run through there.
So I'll entertain a motion to give me the approval to sign on behalf of the county there.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? From now on, if you have a grant application that involves county approval or my signature on behalf of the county, make sure you bring it to court with a copy and ahead of time.
Okay. I do have one, but it's not
I hope you
filled
get
out
it.
or anything.
I hope you get it.
Mr. Rambo, just, I guess I want to compliment you for, because I haven't had any issues about those pit bulls in quite some time.
Well, I'm glad. Because there are other pit bulls, but.
So I'm assuming y'all kind of got all that under control. 'Cause I'm serious.
Well, I appreciate it.
It's went kind of quiet, so,
Yeah, I'll let
which is
the-
a good thing, you know.
Yes, I'm thrilled, and other than, we have some repetitive barking dog calls, complaints, ordinance noise
Sure,
type of issues.
yeah, no, yeah.
We're trying to get those cleared up as well, so.
But let me just say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being patient and keeping us on our toes. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Next, detention center reports. Jailer Todd's with us. If you'd introduce your guest.
Yeah, I will. Gentlemen, this
morning.
is Jeff Harris. He's our mental health expert, and we'll go ahead and do that first. River Valley Mental Health approached us about a program, and so I got Jeff involved, and I'm gonna let him explain what we're doing. He's got.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, gentlemen. I've got with me a bag that's a result of this project. There's I'll call it a grassroots organization that has sprung up in Henderson over the last year or so. It's referred to as the Community Alliance and Resource Partnership. One of the areas that we at the detention center would like to be better at dealing with is when we're discharging inmates out of the detention center that have mental health issues. We'd like to connect them really closely with some resources. One, to continue medication, to get in some sort of either mental health treatment or substance abuse treatment. And this organization has come alongside us specifically at the jailer's request to provide some information. This bag is just a simple bag of information that's held in it, but also the detention center is also a recipient of a Department of Corrections grant that provides us with about 100 units of Narcan monthly. So we're providing Narcan in these bags so that when inmates discharge, we're handing a bag to them, and they have the ability to use these resources to get access in the community along with potentially life-saving use of Narcan.
And like I said, the program is in an implementing stage. We're going to get with, I'll have Captain Grillon and Jeff sit down and finalize, what we need, how we can disperse them. And so that's the program that we've been looking at doing. And there's other programs that we're hopefully come down the pike that when people leave, they only have the shirt and no money and no place to go, so they go back to crime. So we're going to look at what we can do there. The jail, let's look at the garden. We processed about over 3,000 pounds of onions in the last couple of days, and that's our potatoes, which that was an early stage. They'll be, we'll process them next. And then we've got other corn growing and squash and all the other things from the garden coming on. The garden's good, looks good, and we want to thank Sergeant Gray for his efforts as Captain Duncan has been on light duty. We've got a total of 493, 97 inmates. We have 158 feds. Last year we had about 90, so we're increasing our feds. We're beating the bushes. And state, we got 129, and we got 170 counties. Then we got other that totals up to 493. So doing well. We still got.
Any other questions of Jailer Todd?
Joe's doing good. He's on light duty. He's running our control tower, and we're looking forward for him to get off light duties and see where we can use him best. Yeah, Joe's a good man. We appreciate him, and we're glad.
And I know you're doing everything you can to reestablish our relationships with federal government.
Right.
Bring more of those inmates in, and also I know you're looking at different ways to help with training. And
Yeah, we've sat down yesterday and looked at training, so we're gonna get with Captain Vault and improve our training.
All
We've
right.
got ideas and thoughts. And, so
It'll be
we'll
key, I
hearing
think.
about that soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we doing with employees, sir? I know you're short.
Yeah, we're still short. We're better off than we have been. We've, of course, we're hoping we're going to start advertising our pay and our benefits a little better, and hopefully that will continue to increase. It's tough. Everybody's short.
Hey, go ahead, Taylor. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say real quickly, I'm glad to see that we have crews out doing some mowing and picking up. I stopped and told them what a good job they were doing the other day. It's nice to see they did a really, really good job keeping us clean.
Appreciate it.
that.
Yeah, we would like to do, look at, in the future, probably increasing that, or we've got something with the city.
that's actually a revenue source for the jail
Right.
too. Those contracts.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Bruce, is there an uptick in our county inmates? Did I understand you say 170?
Yeah, it's about 170. It's.
Is that where it's
it
been
varies.
running? Has it been running that many?
It has been. I mean, it's been up. It's up and down. But it's high. I know that. Are we still looking at the rocket docket, Mr. Gold?
Well, as a matter of fact, just got the email yesterday that the application that Mr. McKee and I made to the state for rocket docket funding was approved for a part-time assistant Commonwealth's attorney position to be assigned to do rocket docket work. So that part of the grant is the program must begin by August 1, 2023. So I assume Mr. McKee is going to be looking at hiring somebody very quickly.
We appreciate both of y'all for doing that.
That should, for the magistrates, when you hear county inmate, a lot of times you think of somebody that, got a DUI or something like that. From the jail standpoint, even a felon, let's say somebody is busted for dealing fentanyl or something like that, they're destined to circuit court and eventually going to be on the state's dime,
Right.
but they don't get on the state's dime until they are till they're final sentenced up in circuit court, and that process of discovery and all of those things can take a while, and so that's why they're still classified as county inmates that whole time. And sometimes if they're on certain diversion programs, they stay on the county's dime throughout that. So that's a significant driver of the county inmate population. It's kind of interesting, like I say, you think of county inmate versus state, but a lot of the people that will be state are county. So what this rocket docket grant will do is not necessarily the dealer of fentanyl, but somebody who is suffering from addiction and has been charged with that and has received a possession charge or something like that. The rocket docket program will push them through the system a little bit quicker and get them to where they're final sentenced quicker, so it'll save the jail money, but it also gets them to their final destination, which is typically treatment there, quicker, and on to something supervised like probation and parole, something like that. So hopefully it's both better for the jail, better for the individual, so they can get the
that's
addiction
most
treatment they
important.
need, and therefore better for the community as a whole. So that's the concept behind it. Henderson was the either last or next to last county in the state to get a rocket docket program. We had one for about 6 months, a few years ago. Now it's coming back, which is great, because I think that's going to be a big help for the jail. So.
And the individual. All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Next, county clerk report. Renise?
All right, today I have payments to the county for the month of May 2023. We have excess fees in the amount of $162,487.68, and that brings the total for the month to $224,102.45. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
Move to accept.
Motion and a second to accept county clerk's payments. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great job.
Did you want me to go ahead and talk about the grant?
Sure.
At this point, yeah. Thank you for allowing me to speak about this. Henderson County is eligible to apply for $160,000, $160,579.94 under House Bill 1, and that is for election equipment. And it is designated for Henderson, so it is a reimbursement grant specifically for us. So naturally, I have some plans with this money I would like to submit to you today and talk about and see if you have any questions. You all vote, and you know the last time you voted, you saw our new poll pads that we purchased and that with a grant as well. And you received a little receipt whenever you checked in, and then you took that to a ballot table. And someone that working at the ballot table took a ballot pad and tore off the ballot for you based on what was printed on your receipt. So that's a wonderful process, but unfortunately, mistakes can still happen at that point. The poll worker can look at that receipt and grab the wrong pad. Not on purpose, but sometimes whenever you're there all day long from 6 to 6, it's just monotonous and things happen, mistakes happen. Not a lot, but it is, we have been told that this has happened before. So what I am hoping that you will allow us to purchase with this grant money is a print-on-demand system that works with our current system, where it's like the scanning gun at Walmart that you use to check out now. Everybody does the self-checkout. So you take that gun and you actually scan the barcode on the receipt, and it's a print-on-demand ballot. So your ballot is printed out whenever you are standing there. So you will be handed the correct ballot according to how you were registered in the beginning. So with that, we received a quote from HARP Elections Services, and they are our current vendor that provides all of our election services and also the equipment that we currently have. And Carrie Smith, you want to come up here, Carrie? She went through our equipment and found the most economical way to use our current equipment to transition it to equipment that will work on this print-on-demand. It will also, so we can repurpose what we have, but we also need to purchase some new. So we have a quote, and like I said, referencing that $160,500 figure we have available to us. The quote that we received is $148,653. So today I'm asking if we can talk about it and possibly get a resolution for me to go ahead and order this equipment, if at all possible.
So I guess we need a motion to allow them to move forward, and perhaps also, do I need to be involved in any way as official applicant, or the county has to be involved?
There's an application that I can fill out, and I have everything, together. I just needed, a resolution in court to
A resolution or
allow
simply
me.
a vote?
Yes, allow me to, go ahead and purchase. And it's a reimbursement, just like the pole pads, where we get the money back. It's allocated to us already, so,
So there's no chance of denying?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a letter from State Board of Elections. They're administering the grant.
So pretty much it's our money, we just have to do the process
Yes.
to say, hey, here's what we're using.
We have to apply for it, yes,
So you
and say
come
what
in-
we're,
Oh, sorry. You
Go
come in,
ahead.
you come in early or under the
Yes.
amount. What
Yes.
happens to the other?
we can find other uses. I'm
So
sure
you're
we
gonna
will.
get the full amount?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Don't want to leave anything.
But Carrie did a
Frankfurt.
great job with looking at our current equipment, and the, Harp Enterprises, they have a way to convert it to be able to use the equipment that we have, so.
One thing about the election world is there's always new equipment needed.
Yes, yes. Well, and with the upcoming election, the presidential election, I just thought we need to get this in place and be as ready as we can. The election board is discussing opening another location and also transitioning from one that has a parking issue to another in the same area. So we are planning ahead, and we want to make sure we can have the easiest flow and the best possible service for the presidential, because it's always the largest.
We're getting pretty high-tech on our voting process here. Do we have anything in case that high-tech don't work? Because I have high-tech farm equipment that never runs, so.
Well, we are going to order some paper ballots, but in a much smaller scale.
So if it doesn't work, we can revert back.
There are, and yes, that is, I do have a backup always.
Okay.
But let me reassure you that there are many counties that are already using this. We're not the first. So
Didn't you have one print on demand?
we did.
Yeah.
We actually had two this past election.
I think I used it when I walked in. Carrie's like, "You're using the print on demand."
She made him use the new one.
And
We did
it
have
worked fine.
that at the Archery Center, so it was used, one of
I
those
used it.
on Election Day. And then we also used it for absentee in our office. So we have used the equipment that we're wanting to purchase.
So Judge, do we need a motion that just says we're moving forward with the process?
And also to allow me to sign any documents related to the application, if you don't mind.
Is that two separate motions, or?
You can make it
Oh.
one motion. Move forward with the process and allow me to sign any documents.
I'll make the
related.
motion to move forward with the process and allow you to sign the document.
We have a motion and a second. We will eventually provide you whatever you need on that. Is there a
Thank you.
is there a deadline on application?
Well, it's always the sooner the better with ordering equipment. We went to a conference last week and talked with people from HARP, and they said, the quicker we can get on it, the faster we're going to be in line as far as getting the equipment delivered to us and programmed and ready. It won't be, they already told us that this general, we won't have it by this general. So that's how far out they are in providing the equipment.
I understand, right, we're going to write the check, and then they're going to reimburse.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. And I did ask them yesterday, State Board of Elections, who is administering this program, about how quickly we will get the money back, because, with the poll pads, I think we received the money before we received the bill. But this time she said it is a little bit longer of a delay, but she said she looks for it to pick up after the July 4th holiday, so.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all doing such a good job.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, only 2 checks today. One, a whopping $2.54 in interest, and jail fees collected of $135, bringing the fiscal year total to date to $220,381.95.
I'm glad we don't have a judge's scholar today. That would have been a bit of anticlimax.
Quite the letdown, yeah.
Judge, I'd make a motion to accept.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm going to bring Treasurer Ryder up. This is the last fiscal court meeting of the fiscal year, which means we always have a lot of little odds and ends to tie up, even more so than the previous month. So that's why you have 2 or 3 pages of transfers.
3.
If you looked at them closely, you'll notice some of them are for 10 cents, some of them for a little bit more, but it's the process of zeroing out all these line items. And I'll start this, if you don't mind, by saying we are coming up on the end of a very solid fiscal year. Our expenses, especially in the general fund, are going to be anywhere from, 8 to 7% below budget. I think all the departments across the board were under budget in expenses. We did very well on revenue. So even though we have all these smaller amounts to tidy up here at the end, and it looks kind of willy-nilly, this is typically it. And I can't give Brenda enough credit for the work she's done this year. It's been another unusual year, a lot of weird things happening. Opioid funds and ARPA payouts and audits and all that stuff, and to come to an end of a fiscal year in such a solid position, not only very satisfying, and I thank all the department heads who helped make that possible, but also Brenda's hard work. So Brenda, I'm teeing you up. Now ask us for more money. How about that?
These transfers are as presented, and as the judge said, this is redistributing appropriations within this is existing year's budget. If you'll notice on page 3 at the end, I am asking for your approval for any necessary additional transfers which may be necessary as I close out the fiscal year, and I won't really know that until 2nd to 3rd week of July. Usually if these are done, they're minimal. They're due to either underestimating the fiscal year encumbrances, which we don't get until about the 2nd week of the new year, and or the year-end standing orders, but we are at the 27th of June, so hopefully we're very close.
And this is a very typical request. We allow Brenda some leeway to take the pennies that need to be necessary, move them around, and close these line items out before we submit the budget to state without having to come back and vote for quarters and dimes again. So that makes sense?
Yeah. Judge, we're not going to go over all these. We've already reviewed them.
Unless anybody has questions.
I would make the motion that we approve the transfers and also any deficits due to underestimating fiscal year and encumbrances in the year in standing orders.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Once again, great job, Brenda. And, without any further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And claims?
Okay. You have received your bank balances after paying claims today, and just to follow up a little bit about what the judge previously spoke about, your appropriations for your year-end ended, and these are unreconciled as of right now, but ended at approximately overall 75%. But your general fund finished 91%. Your road fund appropriations finished at approximately 78%, which that is going to change a little bit, maybe 1% because I have some additional claims on that. The jail approximately 83%, and the LGEA fund approximately 94%. I do have additional claims. From the general fund to DeBrock Kumpel, $9,693.50. This is for Courthouse and Judicial Center HVAC maintenance service and is to come from the Judicial Center and Courthouse renewals and appropriation lines. To HMPL Henderson Municipal Power and Light, $979. This is for equipment for the Judicial Center Solar Energy Project and is to come from the Judicial Center Renewals and Repairs Appropriation line. To Magistrate Southard, $665.20. To Magistrate Starks, $665.10. These are both for training expenses and is to come from the Fiscal Court Training Conferences appropriation line. To Teresa Childers in the amount of $2,491.62. This is for fiscal year training incentive and is to be paid with the July 6, 2023 payroll and is to come from the Treasurer's Training Incentive appropriation line, and this is for the new fiscal year. From the road fund to ERS Wireless, $692. This is for radio equipment repair and is to come from the Maintenance and Repairs Equipment appropriation line. To Contact Engineered Solutions, $31,349.95. This is for box culvert and pipe to complete 2 current road projects and is to come from Bridge Construction appropriation line. To John Deere, which is a billing company for Rural King and/or Wright Equipment, the amount of $2,999.99. This is for an air compressor and is to come from the Maintenance and Repairs Equipment appropriation line. To Mulzer Crushed Stone, $2,957.49. This is for rock and is to come from the Rock Materials appropriation line. That's all.
Move to pay the claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pay claims. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Brenda.
Anybody have any old business? Before we get into go to the county, we did get notice that the Riverport is applying for a DRA grant to fund a new forklift, and it's not just a normal forklift. These are large pieces of equipment that they use for even bigger loads out at the Riverport. Hope they get it. They have asked for a letter of support from myself on behalf of county government to help their cause, and I think they also asked Magistrate Southard, the magistrate for the Riverport, to a similar letter, and if it's okay, I'd like to maybe get a motion to allow me to go ahead and sign on behalf of the fiscal court, encouraging that they get the
So move.
grant.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that? Magistrate Southard as well.
Yeah, me and the judge talked yesterday. I just wanted to be sure. I mean, I definitely support them getting the grant. I just wasn't sure that I could do it without talking to y'all first.
So with that, actually, for the purpose of the minutes, Master Tompkins, would you alter your motion to include both, allowing me and Tim Southard to?
Motion to move, to let Tim Southard, Magistrate District 3, and the judge to write a letter on behalf of.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anybody else have anything for good of the county, from the audience, like to say anything? Appreciate your patience today. A lot going on. With that, I'll take it around the horn. Master Southern, good of the county.
Riding gravel road, we need rain. I never thought I'd say I need rain on a gravel road, but I do. Dusty, really bad. My roads are looking good. I'm really happy with the way things are going with I've got a new grader operator. He's doing a good job. I was nervous about that. New grader operator always makes you nervous, but he's doing good. So all's good in District 3.
Thank you. Master Tompkins.
I echo his comments. Grader operator, roads are looking good that are gravel. All the new equipment we've got that Nick's crew's working on, the shoulders and things getting put on, really makes you proud to be part of the efforts that go along to that. Nick and those guys do a great job, so the roads are safer and are in good standing. All's good District 2.
Master Putnam.
Thank you, Judge. You know, June's been a pretty busy month here in Henderson with our Handy Fest, which we were talking, I guess, Sunday about the turnout. And Mr. Cole, what was 30,000, 30, 40,000 in attendance possibly?
Who knows, because we don't sell
Well,
tickets,
I know
but it was by
huge.
any measure either the biggest or next to biggest ever. It was.
Yeah,
it was
so
good.
my Hats off to the committee for doing a fabulous job there. We did have a visitor, and the judge graciously had me read a proclamation for the Genealogy Society here in Henderson for Reverend Paul Horace Kennedy. I wasn't familiar with the gentleman, but after he read his bio and stuff, the guy was amazing, amazing man. And they had a great crowd at the Rotunda Room at the library. And Juneteenth. Would you agree, Mr.
It was also a great turnout.
Also a great turnout. Yeah, so we've had a lot going on, a lot of people enjoying all the good weather and the festivities. So it's all good. And I guess all is good in the third, Judge.
Thank you.
Or fourth, I'm sorry.
That redistricting's
I had
got
the
you,
third.
reapportionment's got you rattled. Then remember, you still live in your district, as far as I can tell. Master Starks.
I'm going to have to write a 4 on my hand.
Well, again, thanks everybody for coming out and for watching. And do we say Happy New Year on July 1st, or do we have fireworks? We'll have fireworks on the 4th, and encourage folks to come down and be a part of all that. And the courthouse, of course, will be closed that day, so just make your plans accordingly there. I think it's great the way that all of our department heads, and like you say, our treasurer and all of our finance folks, and of course you, Judge, how we've been able to manage our funds. That's our primary responsibility. Here we are at the end of the year. I dare say there's probably a lot of counties out there that are very envious of the type of position that we are in financially, and being able to end on such a high note. And I know that's our plan going forward. And so I just want to commend everyone for the hard work, because it doesn't just happen by happenstance. A lot of hard work behind the scenes. So appreciate that. And just like these gentlemen have said, the roads are looking good. We were on the tractor drive this past Sunday with Magistrate Putman and our chauffeur here, Magistrate Keith Berry, and we actually had a chance to see some of the county roads, and actually one of the newly repaved intersections out there. At the former coal haul roads crossings, and looks really good. They did a nice job. And it was just a fun day to be out raising awareness and money for the Cancer Society, and actually getting to see some of our neighbors out in the county. They were very polite, respectful. They gave us right of way, and it was a great event all the way around. And with that, I'll just say enjoy the rest of the summer. Be safe on the roads, and be particularly aware all the different changes that are going on right now with the I-69 project, and stay up to date because it's really starting to get very congested, a lot of lane changes and things of that nature. They're doing their very best to keep everyone informed, and it's just going to get even busier as time goes on. So let's be safe out there. Keep your speed down, observe that speed limit. It's there for the safety of not only the road workers, but yourself. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Master Berry.
After all that, I have nothing to say. I go last. No, I see. Thanks, Judge. I want to thank Steve and Bill and everybody that went on the tractor drive. That's a great cause. I try to do it every year for the Cancer Society, cancer fundraiser, and it was a good time. It was hot, but I think everybody enjoyed it. And to look at the roads, you need to drive them on a tractor, Tim. You'll see. And I'm going to say this, and I've already said it. Our county roads, I know Nick used to work for the state, but he's not there anymore, so I can say this, but our county roads were much smoother than the state roads that we drove. Don't you agree?
I would second that.
Yeah. Here.
They were. They really were. So that's good. That's good. And the Handy Fest, Steve, I think that the park is being outgrown. I got up and spoke on behalf of the county. Steve Gold asked me to do that, and I never turned down a chance to do that. So I got up and spoke, and when I got up there, I couldn't believe the crowd. It was as far as you could see. It was full. So I think, and I told people there to bring one person with them next year. If they do, we're in trouble because there's no place to put them. And that's true. It was full. It was really packed. It was a good time. It was perfect weather. I think everybody enjoyed it. So with that, Nick, appreciate you. Great job. Even Tim, leave him alone. He's doing a good job. No, I'm teasing you. So I think with that, everybody great. Bernice, everybody, all of our department heads, like Bill said, everybody's doing a great job. We really appreciate you. Makes our jobs a lot easier, the things we do. So Thank you, Judge. District 1's good.
Thank you. Mr. Gold?
Mr. Barry, first of all, thanks for driving us in the tractor ride. It was great. Brought my kids along and got to see a lot of those back roads. My daughter loves driving the back roads all the time, but there's a couple that she hadn't been on, so she was happy.
Next year, Bob,
that.
you can do that too.
There were a couple I had never been on.
It's a ton of fun. And I know it's a lot of work for you doing that for us, so we appreciate it. You know, you mentioned handy. I went around one night, and I always love looking at the license plates. And I don't even count Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, but just walking around one block, I saw 3 Michigan, Texas, Arkansas, Florida, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Alabama, and British Columbia. So just in one block. But you're right. I think at some point we're going to have to look at putting an additional stage down there at Red Banks Park, maybe having a couple things going there.
Dueling banjos.
There you go. Yes, and the festivals keep going in Henderson. We've got the Sandy Lee Song Fest coming up in July, and then in August we have Bluegrass in the Park, which Mr. Barry is one of the organizers of. So thank you for that, and thank you again for driving us yesterday, or Sunday. And Judge, we had a good showing at the Rotary Trivia night Saturday until we ran into a buzzsaw. Y'all, I thought we were like in second place. I thought we were going to win because there was a sports section, and I'm like, I've got a former sports writer here. We've got this, and then the whole thing was about the March 26, 1983 U of L UK basketball game. And we all just kind of looked at each other like,
I wasn't here.
I mean, I watched it, but I was 10.
Oh, but you're leaving out the best part. It wasn't even that category that.
Well,
really
that
threw us for a loop.
and then I felt really bad because we also didn't do great on the Bible category. And as an elder in my church, I was a little disappointed in myself.
As one person said, we're pretty smart, but apparently we're going to hell.
Yeah, it was. They were very esoteric questions, but felt a little bad about that. Am happy that we are going to be restarting Rocket Docket in Henderson. I think that's going to be helpful, both for the jail and hopefully for the community. Our move of the child support office out to Clutie Park Plaza has been successful. People are finding their way out there. A lot of people were a little concerned initially when they said, "Oh, well, that's far away from the Judicial Center." Well, really, we only go to the Judicial Center at that office once or twice a month. With it being right across from the benefits office, the food stamps, things like that, we have a lot of interaction with that office and the health department, and a lot of the people that we serve are dealing with both of those entities as well. So people are finding their way there. It's working out. Employees are happier. They're not all crammed into one room anymore. So that's working out really well. I will say that's left us with less than half of our former staff downstairs. So we're looking at making a hire to make sure we've got the window covered. But if you come in and there's nobody at the window, just we're going to get a bell or a chime or something. Right now, Ron and Joanne are covering a lot of that and doing a great job at it. But that's a little bit extra on them. So thank you, Ron, for that. Other than that, things are good in the county attorney's office. Been a lot of changes, a lot of positive changes, and like to keep things going upward and onward.
Hey, Judge, just real quick, I just want to give kudos to. We're very fortunate to have Steve Golden. He doesn't quite get the credit he deserves most of the time. I think he not only keeps us out of trouble on a day-to-day basis, it's not an easy job for me, but all the community involvement for a guy who's got way more than he can say grace over shouldn't go unnoticed. So I just wanted to take a second to say I'm proud to have him as our county attorney.
Appreciate it.
Here.
And I would second that emotion. Thank you, Mr. Gold. And I do want to reiterate how proud we are to come to the end of another really solid fiscal year, because you never know when you begin a fiscal year what's going to happen. There's 1,000 things that could impact your plans, and I think one of the things that has really been a source of pride, hopefully for everybody involved in county government the last 8 years anyways, we've budgeted and planned well enough to take on the hurdles, handle the bumps, and then take advantage of the opportunities. And we continue to put ourselves in a better position to do all those things. Last year, about this time, I noted that the county was in the best financial position it's ever been in its history, and we are even in a stronger position as of today, I would say. And that all translates into the ability to handle emergencies when they come, to handle anything that comes down the pike from Frankfurt or Washington that impacts us negatively, or take advantage of economic development opportunities when they arise, all without raising taxes on our citizens. And we, once again, as you know, are about to enter in a fiscal year where we did not touch our tax rates and have no plan to in the near future. And in the last year, in the last 12 months, we've seen the Pratt project go from holes in the ground to what it looks like today, which is unbelievable. I get comments from visitors from out of the county all the time about how large and surprisingly massive that place is. 1 million square feet under roof. Actually 2 plants in one, both the mill and the corrugators. So that has been a lot of fun to see. And they will be shortly, probably before the end of September, making cardboard there. And stay tuned on some of that news. We're going to have a groundbreaking later this week on the new portal for Riverview, south of Corydon, which is exciting news. I-69 continues to grow, and as was mentioned before, a lot of construction sites now, but that always is very exciting to me. We had a recent meeting with the mayor and the I-69, representatives of the I-69 project group, about how the county and city can work together to better communicate all the things that are going to be happening in the next 3 months as they get into rebuilding intersections now at 425 and at 2nd Street, and how, just give people a heads up and what to expect. I made a note that on a recent vacation, driving up through northwestern Michigan, and we drove through several small towns, each of which had roundabouts, and we survived it. And I would say that if the people, and especially the older drivers of northwest Michigan, can survive roundabouts, so can we. I have no doubt. We might even have set up a roundabout clinic as we get closer to that. It is a ways off. But all to say that in the last 12 months, we've had a lot of exciting things going on, and there's more on the way. We have a lot of good interest in the site at Sandley Watkins Park, where we are building a new 1 million square foot dirt pad to accommodate a large industry. And we have already wind of other local businesses expanding. So that's all good. So thank you for all your hard work. Taylor and Bill, your first 6 months, it's been an interesting ride. Just your first 6 months, a lot of stuff going on.
Still catching my breath.
Yeah, it's a good experience, but we're doing good things. We're doing good things for the community. That's our job. And minding the pennies and providing the services. Yes, sir. We will work that out. Yep. That's all I have. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Judge, just one thing before we go, I forgot to mention. We'd like to get a larger map of the redistricting. That, you know what I mean, that you don't have to need a magnifying glass to look at it. That whenever we can get to it.
I think Chris got the word, but we'll double back.
All
on
right.
that.
Appreciate it,
everybody. And again, on the broadband proposals, anybody wants a copy of all of them, both of them, I should say, just let us know. We'll get it to you. Thank you for your patience on that. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.